What is going on, everybody? It is once again the Three Count Podcast, brought to you by the Sports Market Analyst. My name is Benny Thurman III. Once again, as you all know, Caleb Braxton's future husband. I am here with the general manager of the New York Jets, JaQuawn Turner. How you doing, bro?
Yes, sir. 3 count.
We were trying to get everybody together, but apparently Shayna Baszler also choked out Paul tonight. So he will not be joining us unless he somehow wakes up and jumps into the call as well. But we're going to be going over our review for Elimination Chamber. We didn't get to do our predictions and everything like that. This weekend was crazy.
This weekend was insane. I'm hungover. I don't even know what to tell you right now.
Normally we try to wait until like the actual card comes out in full. So we were trying to wait until after SmackDown so that they can actually get all of this stuff out and everything like that. But my job tried to kill me. JaQuawn tried to kill his liver. Shayna Baszler tried to kill Paul.
And they didn't release the card until like 20 minutes before the show started. So
yeah, but like I said, I didn't even know about the freaking the what was it the Viking Raiders versus
yeah, that one came up on on WWE Now 10 minutes before the pre-show started. So
yeah, just like I'm sitting up here, I'm watching the Lakers Clippers game earlier, so we're just sitting up here. That I wasn't even paying any attention to the pre-show at all. And once that went off, I flicked over and I found out as the show was starting up, like, hey, we had a pre-show match. I was like, oh well, okay. Pretty sure it wasn't important.
I saw the pre-show match. I will say the story of it makes sense. It was basically a glorified squash match. Because we all know whenever Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins are involved in anything, it's pretty much it's a wash. Well, but it was just another way. Basically. Well, we did get a Rough Rider though out of it. I was kind of surprised, but it was a Rough Rider that was reversed and hit on Kurt Hawkins. The Viking Raiders definitely did win. The match was solid. Like all those guys are good workers. The spots were clean. There were no botches. The ring psychology was fine. Viking Raiders get the win, and it kind of like gives you like, okay, the Viking Raiders are still the Viking Raiders, but it definitely did in its own way lead to the spot they were in later in the night. So
right.
That's my review on it. I'd still give it like 2 stars because it wasn't really that relevant, but there was nothing wrong with the match. I'll put it that way.
I'm not even doing star ratings on this thing. And I don't, like I said, I didn't see the match, so I can't even give you a viewpoint on it. It's a Viking Raiders match. They're going to go through all of their spots.
And listen, the Viking Raiders versus Aleister Black and Ricochet is still one of my favorite tag team matches I've ever watched.
That was a great match, but that wasn't on the main roster. So
that also makes sense,
Mm-hmm. All right, so starting the card off, we had Daniel Bryan versus Drew Gulak in a match that apparently manifested itself out of the ether because I don't know where this match came from. It just appeared.
It just seemed that it was Drew Gulak is in someone's good graces, and it may be Daniel Bryan's because this seems like the brainchild of Daniel Bryan. Just the pace of the match, the spots, because everything was clean, everything was technical, and they kept repeating that it's like Daniel Bryan's fighting himself but younger. Even though I don't think Drew Gulak is that much younger, if even younger than Daniel Bryan. But overall, it was a really good technical match for people who are wrestling purists.
Yeah,
there wasn't a lot of story. There wasn't a lot of. It's just two guys going out there like, hey, give us some opening match, and it was a solid 3-star match. Like, it was a solid match, and the fact that it was really cool that Bryan got a yes chant for Drew Gulak, who was working heel. But it was a nice way to get Drew Gulak a rub from a guy that, doesn't work the same kind of schedule, but still holds that kind of love in the hearts of fans. So it's a nice way to get Drew Gulak over. I don't think it worked because that crowd just couldn't be worked tonight. Personally, I just felt like that crowd just couldn't be worked.
Which is odd because it's a Philly crowd and Philly's
it's a Philly crowd, but Philly just was not into it tonight. And I think Philly, much like a lot of the northeastern states, are just like, until you give us something of quality, especially following Revolution, we're not going to feed into the bullshit.
Brooklyn was wild on Monday, though.
Yeah, again, because the Brooklyn crowd is hot for their guys. And you can tell Monday was about their guys, even though Vince tried to screw it up in every possible way. Their guys still got over.
Yeah, when it comes to this match or whatever, I looked at this and I'm thinking to myself as the match is going on. First off, Daniel Bryan is the best seller in the world.
Oh my God, I don't know if some of those were sells. Like I'm like, yo, I'm having a doctor like as soon as he hits the curtain, because that German suplex, Jesus Christ.
When he hit the floor, I'm like, oh my God, please, let's not do this again.
Like when I saw him roll out the ring and he just collapsed, I hope to everything that was him selling, and he didn't come to again in the middle of the match the way Liv Morgan did, because it looked like that shit knocked him out cold. Like I thought that was like, okay, we've seen the last of Daniel Bryan now. Like it's over. Like that was terrible.
That was that.
Wow.
Honestly, I'm gonna need to do a little bit of research after this. Because I could have sworn the Dragon Suplex was banned.
No, they're like slowly unbanning certain moves for certain people, because the Brainbuster was also banned.
I guess that though, if that's the case, then they're giving them to like your workers that
your workers, yeah, like guys that they know. Yeah, the guys that they know won't hurt people, aka not Seth Rollins.
Which is how you sit up there and you end up with Rey Mysterio being allowed to, and not even so much just Rey anymore, but everybody's starting to pull off the Canadian Destroyer now.
Yeah.
But
it's just guys with like lucha libre backgrounds or guys that have been doing it for some time. Like you're not going to see Seth Rollins pull out a Panama Sunrise or something like that.
Better not. And like I said, going back to this thing, like the inverted super vertical suplex, my God,
beautiful.
I'm sitting up here and I'm looking at it, and the crazy part about it is the way he sets up his Dragon Sleeper is almost identical to the Dragon Slayer move in the 2K game, where he rolls through with it and he has the Dragon Sleeper. So I'm sitting up here and I'm watching. I'm like, oh my God, he's using the Dragon Slayer. This is freaking awesome. I love this.
But again, you can only do it. I feel like you can only do it to someone of similar size and similar weight, and you can only do it with someone who's equally seasoned worker. That's why I'm like, Drew Gulak definitely gets a nod here. But even though he's won the Cruiserweight Championship, like he doesn't do enough. He's like looking back, I was watching the Ruthless Aggression documentary. And John Cena was like, I look at Ruthless Aggression as a failure. And I was like, I don't remember that as a failure. But I forgot John Cena actually worked as like the tights and knee pads and shoes John Cena, the quote-unquote Ruthless Aggression John Cena, before he found the Doctor of Thugonomics. We just remember from Doctor of Thugonomics on, because that's when he was working Velocity. I don't remember that I don't remember that John Cena. Like, I just don't.
Remember him.
But Drew Gulak kind of reminds me of that John Cena.
He wasn't the issue with him at the time. He wasn't getting as much of a rise out of anybody. And then apparently at some point, Vince heard him spitting a freestyle or something.
It wasn't Vince.
To Stephanie.
It wasn't Vince. He tells the story in the documentary that basically he was working, and they said it was not any of his fault. He just couldn't connect with the crowd because he was some white bread dude that wasn't working heel. When he was in FCW or OVW at that point, he was working heel. And he was working as a prototype. So John Cena's a great heel. basically he heard Rikishi and all those guys in the back freestyling, and he went to the back and just started freestyling, and he got everybody in the back hype. And Stephanie was on the same bus. She's like, "Can you do that? Like, how do you remember all that?" He's like, "That's freestyle. Is just you just do it." So she pulled out like a can of tuna fish and was like, "Rap to this." Did that. She was like, "Do you want to do that on TV?" It's like, yeah. And then that was the Halloween episode where he came out with the thing and he started rapping for no reason. That's where that came from.
I'm not gonna question why it is that Stephanie McMahon just has a random can of tuna fish, but all right.
She was apparently on a diet and she was eating healthy, so
more power to her.
Listen, they sit up there and have 3 a.m. workouts. I don't question those people anymore.
True.
But I say all that to say that Drew Gulak very much reminds me of a hybrid of Ruthless Aggression John Cena with the technical prowess of vintage Dragon Daniel Bryan. That's a part of the problem. Because we're talking like NXT Daniel Bryan that couldn't connect with a fucking fly on the wall. So it's like I'm sorry, some people just don't have charisma. He doesn't have. He's so good, but he's basically Cesaro at this point.
If he sits up there and he keeps having matches like he had with Daniel Bryan tonight, then he's gonna connect with somebody. All I know is I'm sitting up there and I'm watching the match and I'm like, these guys are gonna wear the R2 button out because they're reversing the living shit out of it.
Unlimited reversals. For sure.
Yep.
Unlimited reversals.
Unlimited. The freaking highlight. They keep coming up on the screen. R2. Anyway, on to the next one. We had the U.S. Championship. Andrade going up against Humberto Carrillo. I was not feeling this match. And
I wanted
most
to.
Most of it was the fact that maybe I'm like, because of the fact that Humberto has been beaten down so much, you don't really get to see his offense too much. And as I'm looking at him getting his moves and doing his comeback and all this other stuff, I'm looking at it and it's just like the majority of his moves are not hard hitting at all.
No,
they're just like they're springboard arm drags. He has that that weird twisting diving headbutt thing that he does off the top rope while the guy, his opponent standing up, and I'm like, why would you even stand there and take that? Like, so I'm just like, I'm sitting up here, and when I put my pick into the room or whatever, I picked Humberto just because of the fact that I thought that they were going to continue punishing Andrade for the wellness policy violation because they had him take the fall on Monday. But I'm sitting up here and I'm just like, you know what? As this match is going on, I just want them to put Humberto out of his misery, and just have him move on to something else. Because I'm really getting tired of you guys have to feud with each other because you're both of Latin American descent.
That's essentially what it is, because that's the only way they can work promos. That's if you notice it, that's the only way they can do promos together. Because it's Selena Vega doing promos for them together. So
like, I don't mind the Angel Garza Andrade thing. That's cool.
See, here's my thing. It's Humberto he's a hybrid physically of Alberto Del Rio and Eddie Guerrero. So you see it and you want to connect to it. But he has the moveset of Rey Mysterio and the mic talents of Ultimo Dragon. No, like, you have to put him with the manager, and you have to do it in a way that you can have it be positive. You got to put him with somebody that's going to hype him up. And you got to bring out someone who's older. You can't do Ray because Ray's still active. You got to find somebody, because that's the only way the kid's going to get over. Because him and Ricochet are in the same boat, because Ricochet can't get over on the mic yet because they don't let him get over on the mic. Humberto probably can get over on the mic if we were strictly speaking in Spanish. But to an American audience, he's never going to get over. Like, no one's ever going to... Like, that's the thing with Eddie Guerrero. Eddie Guerrero was Latin, but he spoke
clear English.
And he had a character. Even though it was a little racist, he embraced it and embodied it, and he turned it into something positive. Like if they still had Chavo around, Chavo would be perfect.
What is Chavo doing right now?
He's in somebody's other company. I don't. He's in one of the independent promotions doing something. I think he might still be with Impact.
And Vince sitting up here throwing money at all these people. Go ahead and throw some money at Chavo.
That, and they need to. Truth be told, they need to develop managers. They need to let Paul Heyman develop a program. Same way they let Shawn Michaels improve the wrestling program and the promo thing. They need to develop a program to groom managers, because you have to bring managers back for all this talent. Because everything's too international, and the American audience can't connect to it.
And not everybody is going to come out being able to cut a 10-minute promo and sound like Rock, Stone Cold, or you know, you're not going to get that from every single person that comes out. And that, although this is an entertainment industry, you can't sit up here and have that be your be all and end all, right? Ricochet, because I haven't heard Prince Puma speak. I've only heard Ricky. Ricochet can't talk like to save his life. Ricochet, however, is a master between them ropes. And because of the fact that he's sitting up here being held back by that, and the fact that, you know, he's not 6'3", weighing 260 pounds, chiseled out of granite, gets him to the point where, you know, Vince doesn't like him, so he's going to get buried, which is crap. And
there's that, but then there's also the fact of, if you notice, they changed his character from when he was a North American champion. That Ricochet can get over. North American champion, when he was feuding with Dream, that Ricochet can get over, because all he was super athletic, but he was this smooth cat that was like, listen, bro, like, he came out in the swag that he wanted to. He wore the swag that he wanted to. He looked like a champion. That guy they turned him into a cartoon superhero. Instead of making him Bruce Wayne, they made him not even Batman, not even Superman. They made him like Gleek from freaking Super Friends. They made him the monkey. And they hit him with the whole, everybody can be a superhero. Like Saturday morning cartoon, like, no. You can he's athletic enough that you can pull off the superhero thing. When he used to come out with the wings, that should have, when he had the wings, they should have had that be a part of his, like, they should have had the R and then had the wings, as if he's like an angel, he could fly. Then you can call him a superhero. When he came out with like the vest with the wings, and when they started letting him get his own gear, where he started getting like the superhero gear, and that's when it got too corny, because now you got like full on bodysuits, and it's like, you look dumb. Then he came out in the John Cena getup for Saudi Arabia, and I'm like, no, just no. Let him do what he does and do it well. That is it. Just stop changing people.
Certain people have to have absolute control over everything.
That's the problem. I don't know who his producer is, and that I blame his producer just as much, because I don't know who his producer is. I don't know who his person is, but whoever they are,
is Ricochet, along with Cedric, they're both Paul Heyman guys. The issue is that Vince is overruling Heyman and being like, listen, no, I want them like this. And Heyman is just like, all right, I can push with certain people like Drew McIntyre, but he can't push with other guys. So he's just like, all right, I got to know where to push and where I can pull, because eventually you're going to end up with a situation where you have another dismember, and he's going to end up being the fall guy.
I think, honestly, with guys like that, because getting back to what our original point, because of guys like Carrillo and Ricochet, you have guys in the back now, like you have MVP, who's sitting there doing nothing. literally, I'm sorry to keep bringing it up, but they need an anti-establishment black person only group. They need that in this WWE now, and they don't want to push it there, and they don't want to go back to like the D-Generation X's and the NWOs and Nations. You don't want to go back to those guys, but in the climate that we're in right now, you can do something similar without it being overtly racist.
It's a PC thing, and the problem that you're going to run into right off of the bat is you're immediately going to have to make that group heel.
And truthfully, truth be told, I'm so serious. For both guys, that would not be a bad thing. Because if you put Ricochet in a suit and have him be cocky and have him just start slapping people in the face, and like you do like a thing with Aleister Black where he slaps Aleister Black in the face because they used to be partners, and you have Cedric slap Ali in the face, and you completely dismantle all the superhero crap you've done before, and you have them come out in suits and have MVP be like that hype man, like that guy, like I'm gonna take y'all to the promised land. That's a tag team you can work with, and then you can put them against a team like the Street Profits, where they're the complete antithesis of them, and have great matches, and then have these guys like, you know what, you guys are bigger than tag team wrestling, and then just on tag team wrestling, and then you have them go after like a Sami Zayn, where like, yes, they're two heel factions, but because of how different they are as heel factions, you can choose who works face and who works heel because it'll change based on the city, and you can do different things like that. You can add dimensions to that stuff, and then you can have it where like a guy like Aleister Black and Ali, who are unlikely together, you have those weird kind of team ups. And because again, with Aleister's so good in his character work, you can give him something stupid like knock on my door, and people will still cheer for him. As you saw, maybe not as much, they'll still cheer for him. But my whole thing is, what if you had a situation where you had, because again, Kane only has to show up once, Undertaker only has to show up once.
Mm-hmm.
But the same way like you have like the Dark Order, you can do something similar in WWE, but it doesn't have to be a group. It can be a bunch of minions and Aleister Black, and then have an ominous presence in the back. Reveal it to be Undertaker, and it's a shoot off of what just happened. Because Aleister looked pissed when he lost. You know, you can do different things to make individuals more intriguing to the audience. But it seems like they're so afraid to, they're just like, oh, let's make everyone a Roman Reigns and a Seth Rollins, where they don't necessarily have to play a character. But now you're looking at Seth. Seth even has to play the Monday Night Messiah to get over.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he can't just be Seth Rollins anymore.
Well, one of the things with that, and once like we gonna go back to this or whatever, but if you look at Seth Rollins, what's going on with him right now is him leaning into his actual persona online, and just basically taking it and turning the notch all the way up, to max, so that he's just like completely delusional with his shit. So with him, like, it's not even character work. It's just like how they say an undercover cop is. Like, the person that he's playing is just another part of his own psyche. But getting back to it,
but
real quick with
it
this
goes
whole
back
thing,
to
like I
it
said,
goes back to the whole thing that like these guys, they either have to pull a John Cena and find their characters, or you're gonna have a very loaded lower mid card, because that's what's being created. You don't have any stars, which is why Vince doesn't have any stars. He has a really loaded lower mid card, and they're not helping
anybody to grow.
Yeah, he's not allowing anyone to explore anything. Where it's like, it's crazy enough, the one division that he ignores is the one that's kind of blossoming right now, which is the tag division on Raw. Now that he's left Raw alone, the tag division on Raw doesn't look bad. Doesn't look terrible. They're watchable. And now Heyman has his guys up top where he can build out tag teams now. You know, it says a lot to me. You got to give these guys latitude. But anyway, mini rant over. Back to the card.
Yeah,
The next
back to the card or whatever. I'm not real fond of the fact that they had Andrade win with a dirty roll up pin. After taking 70% of the match as far as offense.
It makes sense because it doesn't completely squash Carrillo, and it makes me think that again because they're transitioning into the next year at this WrestleMania, there are going to be a lot of title changes. So they didn't do all the title changes now. So to me, it's just like that's going to be a switch later.
I'm just sitting up here like, how many different times is Humberto going to go out there and get a U.S. title match and end up getting DDT'd on the floor or distracted by Zelina Vega existing, or I'm just like, come on. At some point, this match has to end.
They have to add something else to it, and they had something going with Angel Garza, but it just doesn't seem like he's there long term. It seems like he was only there for 30 days because Andrade wasn't, and they needed someone who was similar.
I hope not. I like the two of them together.
True, but I also kind of like the fact that Angel Garza always seems like the type that will turn on you at any given point, and it makes sense for him to turn.
That's what I'm talking about.
And make that into a triple threat match.
I like the two of them together just for the fact that, you can build a slow burn to the two of them breaking up, and then you can have the two of them feud. That I would love that. And then you have Zelina
again. Yeah, the problem with that is you don't have enough time to build the burn. You don't have enough time. You have maybe a month and a half.
Not if you're building Mania.
But that's the thing. They need to build to Mania right now. So like having them two together doesn't make sense if you're not gonna have it pay off at Mania.
Either that, or you said that you get them through Mania, and what's your next big four?
I don't remember. Money in the Bank. Oh no, Money in the Bank.
Money in the Bank.
It's a big five. That's what it is. Like what you want me to say? That's the next one.
I've written on that too, but again, that's later. All right, just to end off this segment right here, I'm gonna say it right now. King is insufferable. He's getting on my damn nerves, and
he's old and cranky. He's old and cranky. That's all that is.
He sounds so whiny, and I'm like, dude, just shut up. All right,
I'm waiting for him to just get hit with a spot at this point.
I need somebody. I need the Dudley Boys to come back and put him through a table, and then they all disappear. Back to the card. We have the Tag Team Elimination Chamber match. I honestly forgot before this that the Revival was supposed to be in this match, and they were replaced by Lucha House Party because Revival have been moved or removed from TV until their contract expires.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna say that Otis dancing to the New Day's music is probably the best moment of the night.
For sure. That makes me just like they had Kevin Owens join the New Day. That kind of makes me want Otis to join the New Day a little bit.
Yeah,
a little bit.
If you give Lucha House Party time, they are freaking amazing.
They are, but they have the same problem that everyone but Andrade and Angel Garza have. Yep. They cannot connect with the crowd. The only time I've ever seen them connect with the crowd was during Watch Along when they talk about the impact of Rey Mysterio on Lucha Libre and Spanish and Latino wrestlers. It's the only time I felt any sort of connection with them. But they can't get over because it's a campy gimmick. And campy gimmicks work.
You can't sit up here and have creative or Vince or whoever is responsible for this shit put them in situations where, okay, we're the good guys and we're going up against Lars Sullivan 3-on-1. and we're gonna have ourselves get beat down because they want to push this big racist motherfucker.
Right. No, I get you. They need to be an actual, like, the tag division on SmackDown show tonight. It's not terrible. It's not even that front loaded. It's literally, it's pretty much even down the middle. Like, there's a clear top tier, there's a clear second tier, and they're trying to build the second tier. That's why they put the titles on Miz and Morrison, because they're trying to keep Miz and Morrison out of the fact that both of those guys should be main event guys. That's a whole nother story. And then there's clearly like a bottom tier and like the up and coming guys, and I feel like that you can build out that bottom tier if you wanted to, and you paid attention to tag team wrestling, and you didn't just focus on the world title all the time,
right?
Or, you know, whatever ridiculous feud they have going on. But again, for Lucha House Party to just be added and for them to do the spot that they did,
my God,
that was something you only think about in a video game. Like, oh, what if we could do this? And because you know that it's animated and someone might actually die doing the spot, and then to see someone do the spot, like, wow, that. To me, that's a feather in their cap to me. Like, I have a whole new level of respect for them as talent and as workers. And I wish that they could be written better. And I kind of want them to be heels.
The only issue that I have with that spot, which is, Lindsay Dorado doing the hanging shooting star press. The only issue that I have with that spot, and real quick before I even get into that, my God, he almost broke his freaking leg tonight.
Yep.
But because they were added to the match so late, you had Dorado and the camera caught him climbing up to the side of the cell, right? And then he disappeared. But then you started seeing like Otis or Tucker, they're looking up because they know something's getting ready to happen. And you're just like, all right, we're waiting for this to happen. What the heck was Lindsay Dorado doing? Because you knew he was up there. A lot of times, like, they don't really care. Like, you saw it in the Street Profits match later, where Angelo Dawkins is literally just popping out of nowhere. So the camera work is actually, it's been a lot better in situations like that, but this time they messed it up. Then it was taking so long for this thing to set up and everything. You're just like, all right, I know something's getting ready to happen. What is going on? And then you just saw him hanging from the ceiling, and I'm just like, oh, okay, this is what's happening.
But like, even hanging from the ceiling, I thought it was like a regular like press. The fact that this man did a full-on pull-up, he did a muscle up, let go, in midair, did a barrel roll and landed going straight down, didn't move his trajectory left, right, or anything. That's a level of athleticism I can't even begin to fathom.
Bro, could you just imagine the amount of core strength it would take to do that?
Jesus. That's all I can say. The fact that no one pinned him after that kind of made, like, the fact that his partner got pinned after that made me angry. Because I'm like, I'm not pinning any, like, everybody knows in a video game, you're going after that person that just fell because they're dead.
Yeah, because you know what that reminds me of? Like, I don't play it myself, but I hear people talk about Super Smash Brothers and how people get ganged up on for doing super moves.
Yep. That's exactly what happened. Now, as much as I did like this match, I do have some issues with it. And because it was glaring time issues. Morrison, for the love of God, this man is not subtle at all. And you can see him calling spots. He calls the entire match. And it is so annoying. Because all I keep thinking of, okay, spot, okay, spot, okay, spot. Like, I'm mapping it out in my head because I see him calling it. Secondly, did someone not give Otis the run through? Because there were multiple times where they're talking, they're trying to communicate, and Otis looks like he doesn't know what the hell is going on. He got in and out of the ring as if like his controller glitched, and you're trying to fix your controller, and he's just going in and out and in, and then taunt and in and out and in, and then taunt, and it's like, sweet dear mother of God.
It was
That
trying to
and the fact that
reenact 20.
yeah, it looked like WrestleMania 2000 for a hot second. It looked like WrestleMania 2000. That, and surprisingly, the fact that there was I forgot what it was. It was like a comeback, and someone was attacking the Usos, and I think it was John Morrison and Miz. Maybe because they haven't worked with John Morrison enough to make it look fluid, but John Morrison's spots look so sloppy and so telegraphed that it makes me wonder why I liked him so much in Eminem. Because he, to me, right now, is absolutely terrible.
Well, he's probably still trying to shake off the rust, if you think about it, because it's like, how long has it been?
What are
since
you
he's out?
rusty for? Because literally, you just lost the freaking World Championship in Lucha Underground when you got signed. It's not like you haven't been wrestling for.
What I mean is you're shaking off the rust of not being a WWE wrestler, because WWE style is way different from everybody
I know, but it makes me so angry because it's like, one, why did you put them back together? Literally, Miz was on the cusp of being a main event star, and you give him John Morrison, and I'm like,
well, not even on the cusp of it. He was fighting for the Universal Championship not too long ago,
and it's just like, why are we doing this to Miz again? Like, this was the year, supposed to be the year that Miz won the Universal title / WWE title, right? Seth Rollins was the perfect guy to drop the title to. Miz would have been a much better opponent for The Fiend because he can speak 10 times better than Seth. And that's not a knock on Seth. But his scratchy fucking gravel voice at some point and his screams, no. Just no. It was terrible. Not to mention the idea of Miz versus John Morrison is blockbuster if you let them be them. But no, you decide to bring it back to the heyday of Miz was still trying to get over wearing a freaking fedora and a scarf like he's a knockoff Jericho. It was.
You know what? And this is a bit of fantasy booking, but I could see them if, like, just say, for argument's sake, Morrison is, make sure he's still around going towards next year. Next year's WrestleMania is in Hollywood.
Makes sense to put a strap on them.
Not even that, just makes sense to have them feud.
Yeah. And it could be over something so petty. Yeah, it could be something as
the superstar.
Yeah.
In John Morrison, yeah.
It could be something as small, but just to have them work each other would be great. But that's my whole thing is, it's like, the problem that I'm having now is that we're so used to seeing the Usos in the New Day that now it's becoming a little more stale, and you want to see other teams get over. Like, I would have loved if at the end it was Otis, Dolph, Bobby, and then Morrison and what's his face, because the New Day and the Usos canceled each other out and it was a double pin. That's a great way to knock both those guys out without damaging anyone. Like, I would have loved for Tucker to have like this big flurry of offense, get super kicked belly to belly by Big E, and then Jimmy kicks Big E, and then they go into a scrap, and then Big E throws Jay through a freaking a pod, and then Jimmy comes and hits him with the knee, and like all these guys are just going at it, and it's like a double cover. And then Miz and Morrison get up, and it's like, oh, okay, there's only 3 teams left. And then the crowd can start getting hot for Heavy Machinery. Like, that's how you're supposed to do that. And then
I actually knew leading into this that they were supposedly building a singles match between Otis and Dolph going into WrestleMania. So I kind of sort of knew that wasn't going to go down. And once I found that out, I'm just like, all right, the only other viable option here is to have Miz and Morrison hang on to the titles, and you
Mm-hmm.
either build towards Miz and Morrison against the Usos or Miz and Morrison in a triple threat against the Usos and the New Day. Because at that point, you have how many different stories that you can tell in that one? New Day trying to get their belts back, Usos trying to equal the New Day in the record or reigns. Miz and Morrison like, no bitches, we're still the champions and we can beat both of you. Like,
Throw in some ladders in there, and we got ourselves a party.
I wouldn't be mad at it. I wouldn't be mad at it. Like I said, as far as I go, because of that, like I said, I had a predictable result with that. I do have to, as much as I praise the man, I have to call Kofi out tonight because he was a little botchy.
A little bit, yeah, a little bit.
He was a little botchy tonight. He was slipping a little bit. I don't know, if he had
But
some sneakers or
in
whatever that
his
wasn't really working.
defense, though, very much these are the matches. This is when you see, because he's never been hurt before.
Mm-hmm.
This is where you see the genius and the impact of Xavier Woods.
Mm-hmm.
Because these are the matches that Big E and Xavier Woods do so well in. They do incredible in. But E and Kofi tagging together, like, there's something always, there's a little magic missing. And that magic is literally what Xavier adds to the table.
When you have a three-man team, that's really not that uncommon. When you have a 3 or 4 man team and they're actually all sharing the titles together, when you have essentially the Freebird rule, where anybody that's teamed together can actually hold it. You're going to have at least one setup that doesn't really work, and in this case, it's this one right here. Like I said, I remember telling people before, I'm a huge fan of the NWO Wolfpack. I was riding hard for the red and black when WCW was running.
Mm-hmm.
But you sit up there and they had the Wolfpack rules. So when they were the tag team champions, it didn't matter who, held the belts. They were all defending them at any point in time. But you, when Sting and Nash went out there, it just wasn't working.
Yeah, you knew it was going to be a little clunky.
Yeah.
Because the chemistry is just, like, on the mic, the chemistry's great. In the ring, if it's a 3-person thing, then the chemistry works. But if it's just Kofi and E, and there's no Woods out there to kind of cover up or call or whatever it is he does on the outside, there's something that's just like, this is a little weird. This is a little uncomfortable. And I think that kind of showed. And like I said, it made sense for them to drop the titles. It just would have made more sense for Miz and Morrison to either win it tonight or at WrestleMania. It didn't make sense for them to lose it in Saudi Arabia.
I can see that. Maybe I don't know. Maybe this is me, Bruce Pritcharding this, but maybe they wanted them to get a actual title defense under their belt or whatever leading into Mania. I don't know.
That's what it seems like. That's what it seems like. That's what the situation was.
It was spitballing and trying to assume what's happening.
That's the only one that makes sense. It's the only thing that makes sense to me.
All right, let's head on to the next one. You and I, unfortunately, like I said, disagree on this one. This is the no disqualification match between Aleister Black and AJ Styles. Right off of the bat, the first note that I have written down, or the first 2 notes I have written down, awaiting Undertaker arrival, because this is so obviously set up. And the other one is Byron Saxton is insufferable.
You know what? Everybody gives Byron Saxton hate. Everyone gives Byron Saxton hate. I actually like Byron Saxton. I don't
mind him in certain situations. Tonight, in that particular match, he was getting on my nerves.
Was this? I don't remember if this was the one with King or not.
Yeah, he was out there.
That's why.
Mm-hmm.
It's because those two together, it's too much. It's like when it's Byron and Corey Graves, and Corey just goes too hard at Byron, and Byron looks like a bitch. It's annoying. Mm-hmm. But if there's like a little bit of it, but basically a call, like the heel and face calling, I'm good with it. But if it's too much of them going back and forth with each other and not enough about the match, it's annoying. But yes, yeah. I just King being out there kind of throws off everything, and I don't like it.
And like I understand why it is that Vince wants King out there. You want a veteran voice out there, but King in my
has dementia.
Is not. He's not veteran. King is over the hill.
Yeah,
and he tries to put stuff out there that, like, granted, sometimes you'll get insight with him, and some stuff actually does come off funny. Because what was it when even though this match was a friggin' disaster, Ricochet versus Riddick Moss on Monday. Ricochet does the standing shooting star press, and I think it was Todd Phillips came out there. He was just like, "King, you remember doing that move back in your day?" He was like, "Yeah, it was always part of my arsenal." So I'm just like, and then you sit up there, you thought in your mind, and you're just like, "What?"
Yeah, like when did King ever do a shooting star anything? Like, and when did King ever do anything more than a leg drop? Cool.
So like it's like stuff like that. I can still get with him on, but like some of the other stuff when he leans far too heavy into the heel character and it's not heel anymore, it's just like shut the fuck up. That I don't like.
My whole thing is his commentary doesn't work unless he's talking about women in a sexual way. That's just his commentary doesn't work then. And it just doesn't seem like he knows any of the new talent. That's my thing. It always seems like he's guessing. He doesn't know these guys. He hasn't spent any time with them.
What they need to do, because you know how the commentary teams work on the main roster, it's Vince in their ear all the time telling him, you have to say this, you have to say this, you have to say this. Instead of that, and granted, you know damn well this is never actually going to happen, but they need to allow guys like King and Corey Graves to actually speak from an analytical standpoint and be the one that go out there and actually say, like, okay, this is what ring psychology is. This is why this person is doing this. This is why this person is doing that. This is one of the reasons why I love Taz and Michael Cole together. Because Taz was always, although he was sitting up there with his super Brooklyn, ghetto talk all the time, Cole with my soup bones and all the other bullshit. A lot of times he was out there like, okay, listen, why we're doing this particular following his target in this part, it's going to make him, it's going to make it difficult for him to do this because this muscle in his body is. I love that shit.
And that's what they need, and that's why two-man teams work. But anyway,
back to the match or whatever. Like I said, my whole issue with the match is the fact that the second I see no DQ, I expect a little bit of fighting, and then let's go get some weapons and beat shit out of each other. This was a wrestling match that just didn't have a disqualification thing in there, and the fact that you had the OC standing out there, just like, we're gonna get involved at some point, but are we gonna do it now? No, we're not gonna do it now. Are we gonna do it? No. I'm just like, I'm waiting for stuff to happen in the match, and it was just like, okay, it's taking a little long for this to pay off, so it was rubbing me the wrong way. I know I went and I said that Daniel Bryan was the best seller in the business. AJ Styles could sell sex to a monk.
Yeah.
The man is freaking amazing. And post Undertaker, although my man came out there and like I said, the two of them, I'm really hoping that they leave him alone at some point and just let him ride off into the sunset and never have to come back. But Saudi Arabia calls. The choke slam was disgusting on both parts.
Bocce for sure.
I'm really wondering, because of the fact that after the Undertaker let Gallows and Anderson go, they disappeared for the rest of the match. Are you trying to imply that Undertaker can like suck the life force out of people by choking them now? Because that's all he did. And then, of course, the end of the match, the Black Mass, probably the most devastating move in wrestling right now, or at least in the WWE.
I love it.
I absolutely love the move. I have no complaints about that. It's just a matter of the way that match was constructed with the no DQ rule in place. It just rubbed me the wrong way. That's all it was.
Here's where we disagree. I agree with you that the no disqualification rule made no sense for the way they worked the match. What I would have done is ban Gallows and Anderson from ringside, or have the refs throw them out, or just have them be more like have him get a kick here, an eye right here, or this that like have it be like he's kind of moving the wrong way and have like Gallows kick him in the leg, like have them be more involved.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why I like the match is because they did Aleister Black such a favor, because he hasn't had a technical match like that since he fought. I think he fought Andrade, and that's what he beat for the NXT title. He hasn't had a technical match like that to really show his arsenal and show his selling skills and show that he's actually a really good wrestler. Now, on the flip side of that, I don't know what they're doing with his character, because if he's supposed to be like this ominous figure, him showing all this fiery emotion is good, but it doesn't make sense from a character standpoint.
Right.
That's my only.
Now here's how I would have actually changed that. Instead of saying just right off the bat, it's no DQ, because the no DQ thing, what that basically does is it gives the Undertaker an excuse to come out for the save.
Mm-hmm.
Because like everybody saw that, like right off of the bat. Like, all right, the match is no disqualification. He's out there. No, AJ's out there. He's using the Undertaker pin.
Mm-hmm.
Undertaker himself came out and said that he wants AJ Styles at WrestleMania because he sees him as quote unquote the modern day Shawn Michaels. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We know we're building towards this match and we have to get through Elimination Chamber. What I would have done is I would have set the two of them up in a regular one-on-one match. None of this no DQ bullshit. Have the OC get tossed in the middle of the match. Right? Ref bump. Ref is knocked out for a little while. OC comes back to make their way down, and then you have the Undertaker come out.
Honestly, I half agree with you. I would have had to be a regular match. I would have had AJ get dirty, and like right when he's about to do something like that, then you have the gong, and you don't have Undertaker do anything. You just have Undertaker come out. Like he can be on the ramp, he can be on the table, he can just be somewhere standing there, or he can be in the ring next to AJ. And like just pops up next to AJ, so AJ freaks out and like backs up and backs into a black mask.
To a black mask, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then you kind of have it be a situation where you plant the seed of Undertaker eventually giving the mantle to Aleister Black, and you have them have a moment, and you kind of have Undertaker nod, and then have the gong happen again, and he disappears. And then you kind of have him have another moment where like he's looking around, and AJ starts to get up, and you hit him with another black mask, and then he wins. And then while he's laying there, you have Undertaker hit the gong again, come out, and you have him do the thing where he slowly raises his hand, and AJ's like kind of passed out, and then have him mock the tombstone pin, and have the crowd chant the 1, 2, 3, and have that happen, so that literally Taker doesn't have to do anything. You have a great match. You have the seed planted that Aleister Black is still the Dark One, or Undertaker almost endorses Aleister Black while still forwarding the storyline for AJ Styles. Like it solves all of the loopholes here.
And gives you an option to push Aleister Black in a different direction so that he's not aimless again.
Exactly. Because at that point that Aleister Black can come out and cut a promo about how his darkness turns into fire. It's not solitude like the WrestleMania. And I mean like the Undertaker and whatever issues they're having, just understand that there's a new Dark One, and it's Aleister. But like have him cut a promo like that where he doesn't necessarily have to directly tie into the Undertaker, but if later on they want to use the Undertaker and Kane at some point, they can do that. And it makes sense. Like they didn't need to, because the fact that you're still having no interaction with dark characters still makes no sense. You know what I'm saying? like at some point these entities have to clash, whether it be modern day versus old school, modern day versus modern day, something they have to clash.
Mm-hmm.
And this was the perfect moment for them to clash.
So it's a giant missed opportunity with
It
the
is.
Undertaker and Aleister Black being in the ring together and not
Yeah.
having any interaction whatsoever. But I honestly, just because of the fact that you can't put the Undertaker through a serious match anymore. I think all it's going to be is an acknowledgement at this point.
Yeah, but that's all we want. That's the same thing
Mm-hmm.
with Bray Wyatt. All we wanted was acknowledgement that the mantle has been passed.
Right.
That's all anyone's ever wanted. And they just refused to have that happen.
I don't know, man.
But overall,
That
I
that's
still like the match. Like overall, I like the match. I like the fact that you were working the leg and it was the calf crusher, and he couldn't hit. The funny thing is that the match is actually made better by the commentary on WWE Watch Along, because you had Ricochet and you had Zelina Vega, and Zelina Vega was the one doing the technical analysis, because you say, like, look at his gear. He always has a reason for his gear. Trust me, Alistair, even though he's hurt, he's going to use that pain for fire. Everything that commentators should have been saying, Selena was back there saying.
Well, the commentators were actually out there contradicting that. They were basically like, "Oh, well, he's taking out the leg so that he can't use the black mass." I'm like, the black mass is a freaking spinning roundhouse. That's all it is. It's literally a spinning back roundhouse. There's
See, and
nothing to it.
the way Zelina made it, she was like, yeah, he's trying to get the calf crusher. But what you don't realize about Alistair's psychology is that he uses that pain, he feeds on that pain, and it does nothing but make him stronger. So while she's saying that, you see him start to get his comeback. And I'm like, she's doing better commentary work than the commentators were doing.
Yeah.
And it's just like, dude, have her sit backstage with you guys and just talk about it. Like it's not rocket science. Like I don't hate the match. I just feel like there's just a giant empty void left for this match, because it could have been so much better, and there could have been a lot more story to this that could have led to so many great things.
I say it's a decent match.
Yeah.
It is a decent match. Like I said, it would have been made better in my eyes if you play more towards the no DQ thing, or if you take the no DQ thing out and actually just script it in a different way. But like I said, I'm not going to kill the match for it. To me, it's a 3.5 star match.
Yeah, essentially.
Even though I
And I
did say I
think it was,
wasn't doing star rate.
well, again, if you're looking at rating, it was by far the best match of the night to me. If you take everything all encompassing, it was the best match.
Next up, we got the Raw Tag Team Championships between the Street Profits, the new champions, and Murphy and Rollins. I honestly don't have too much to say about this. This match honestly could have been on Raw, especially the way that they had it set up. Where it is that the Street Profits got a lot of their offense in early, and then you turned it into the heels dominating, doing X, Y, and Z in order to get over. You have the outside interference from AOP. Then you have the Viking Raiders coming out. They made their appearance. They actually brawl with AOP, and now the two of them are fighting. And then Stone Cold Kevin Owens shows up and doesn't get involved at all. He just sits there.
I love that. That's what I'm saying. Like, what they did there is perfect for what they should have done for some of the previous matches. It's like, you don't need to always have someone be physically involved. It's the psychology of it that makes you want to tune in more now. Because again, you don't see Kevin Owens that much, but when he comes out, he's screwing Seth. Because Seth just goes off at his mouth. And now you have like the Viking Raiders. So it's like, okay, you have a little bit, and they said it, you have a little bit of resistance building. Now, it would make sense for me to bring in Ali, but that's just me. Just saying. Because
I want to see, because the whole thing, I want to know what they're doing with that, because there seems to be some debate in the internet wrestling community as to what the glitch is that's showing up on SmackDown, because it showed up in one of the backstage interviews right before the tag elimination chamber when they were. I think it was that one
Mm-hmm.
where they had the screen up there or whatever. No, it wasn't that. It was right before Natalia came out, and they had the screen came up and it blanked out for a second, and they're basically trying to say like, is it going to be Ali or is this going to be Killer Kross's debut?
Right.
Because the thing looks like that ring that Ali has on his hand, his little Sub-Zero entrance type thing.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway,
like I said, it makes it for where his character is and the fact that he used to be a cop. It makes sense.
What I'm looking at with this one is you can go a bunch of different ways with this because not only have you gotten the tag titles off of Murphy and Rollins, who weren't an actual tag team, they're two single superstars or whatever, and I'm gonna push that to the moon because I heard that stupid shit for months after Sasha and Bayley lost the titles last year. Everybody trying to justify that shit because they're not a real team. Rollins and Murphy were not a real team. The Street Profits are. Suck it. Yeah. All right. Yep. It's just it's true. But now you have the opportunity to build off of this and take the tag titles out of this feud involving Kevin Owens and Murphy and Seth Rollins. Now you can take those and you can have the actual tag team, a part of Rollins' group, the AOP, feuding for those titles. You can have the Viking Raiders feuding for those titles, even though you're talking about two face teams. You can do so much coming off of this and still have your feud with Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins moving towards WrestleMania. The only person that gets a little screwed over in this one is Murphy, because what is he going to do leading into it? But you can always, I don't want to retread of this, but how many times, like, they basically teased another, like, the rivalry between him and Aleister Black continuing in the Royal Rumble. Because
truthfully, that's why I think the Ali thing makes sense. Because I don't think Aleister Black needs to get involved in that because there is no title.
I don't want him.
Right.
I'm just saying, if that's what they wanted to do, you got a perfect setup right there because he caused them the match in the Royal Rumble. But I'm sitting up here like, you can do so much coming off of this. I love that whole build, the way they actually did this thing right here, because of the fact that you have these different branches that can come off of this one, actual match or whatever. Right. Street Profits, you're still champions. This person can go do this person can go do this, and all this other stuff. So, what's your thoughts on it?
Again, I love the Street Profits as champions. I just wish that they treated them really like champions instead of just a gimmick act. Because, like, at this point now, the Street Profits just need to come out and cut a promo talking about, like, the tag division has long been held hostage by other people's problems. So we're just going to start over from anew, and whoever's ready to step up can step up. But y'all not going to fight us. Y'all going to fight each other for the chance to fight us because we want the smoke. And you have a tag team gauntlet match. Simple, easy. Showcases all the tag teams. You can even get like Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins situation. Like you can get those kind of teams. You can get Viking Raiders. You'll now have AOP. I don't even know who else is on the freaking Raw roster that's a tag team.
It's not even just that. You got teams that are just sitting there not doing shit. Like
that's what I mean.
Do you know the Colognes are still on the roster?
I did not know this. I did not know that.
They're still on the roster. And the only reason why I know they're still on the roster because one of them got popped with a Wallace violation not too long ago. I'm like, how? You're not doing anything.
Yeah, you shouldn't be able to be called for that if you're not doing anything. But I mean, like, you can do something now with the tag title, or you can set up the ladder match. And then just have it be a ladder match. And that's it. I would still think Street Profits should definitely get a lengthy run because I think they need champions who are recognizable and who are marketable while you build out the rest of that division. And they may have to, like, because even in NXT, really, there's not a lot of tag teams left.
Nah, 'cause most of them, yeah, what they're doing, they're starting to break people up. They're starting to move, people up to the main roster and all kinds of other nonsense. And it's just like, all right, whatever. That's
Like you need some new lifeblood. That's really all it comes down to. You need some new lifeblood in that division. And if that means that a
like I
team
said,
from SmackDown that's not being used needs to move over to Raw and somebody needs to switch, they need to do something because now they have a face. They just have to build up the rest of the division.
mhm. You know
And you
what else?
need
What else
you,
messed it up?
what?
What else? The other thing that messed it up was Jeff Hardy getting hurt last year.
Yeah,
Jeff Hardy got hurt, and that forced them to start making moves because I don't think they wanted to take the titles off of the Hardy Boys that quick.
mm-hmm.
So after they won the shit or whatever, Jeff ends up with a leg injury. He was supposed to be out for like 6 months. He ends up out for damn near a year. The whole thing with Matt's now leaving and everything like that. Now you have an
He's
actual,
gone.
yeah, yeah. He's not officially over there yet, but he's
No, but I mean his contract officially expired.
yeah. So it's just like you lost a team that could have gone out there and actually helped build up the division
Mm-hmm.
on either side.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you look at, like I said, if you look at SmackDown is, it seems like they have way more tag teams just because of what you saw in the Elimination Chamber.
Yeah.
Um, but now, like I said, you got the opportunity to do it. But you have four main teams on the Raw side. The Street Profits, you got AOP, you got the Viking Raiders. I'm sorry, the War Raiders, because I refuse to call them that. And you have the OC. But the thing is about the OC is more seen as Seth Henchman and not an actual tag team. So,
I forgot about the OC, but yeah, there's also the OC. There's also the fact that like the OC are former tag team champions.
mhm,
Why are we
the
not
OC,
using that?
the OC have that stupid trophy to say they're the best tag team in the world.
The problem is, I think too, is that they don't have a lot of face teams. Like I would even use Lorcan and Birch because they've been tagging on 205 Live. Like bring them
Mm,
boys out here to the party. They always have bangers. Bring them boys out. Like you need bodies for that division at this point. Like you don't need
mhm,
makeshift tag teams. You need legitimate, bona fide tag teams.
yeah.
Like
And if
I
you
don't
want
even
them to break up or whatever and go on, then you do that mess later on down the line after they've established themselves as tag teams.
yeah, like I'd even go as far as to say you need to skip some because the team Grizzled Young Veterans are not doing anything in NXT and they were former tag team champions in NXT UK. If they're willing to sign it and come over, get those boys. Those boys are dope. You have like 4 or 5 tag teams in NXT UK that are doing nothing.
Hmm.
Nothing. And it's like, listen, if they're willing to move over, move them over. Whoever you can get over there, they need to move them because the Raw tag division is outside of the Street Profits and the War Raiders, only 2 face teams, and then you have the
Hmm.
C and you have AOP heel teams. You don't have any other diversity.
Right. Where is this B team?
Maybe someone's hurt, maybe someone retired. They may be just as you know they may just be sitting in catering.
Yeah. I said, but they
Again,
need to do something
they need to
because
do
that,
something with
that
them.
is
That
absolutely it's ridiculous. And you have the opportunity, right? Like I said, right now
yeah,
to actually build this and turn it into something if you want to give it the care that it deserves.
I doubt they will,
If,
but
if,
I mean it's necessary. It's very very necessary.
all right,
Also,
let's move on to
I
the
don't.
next one. What's up?
I just need. I need one more explanation. Why is it that Sarah Logan and the Viking Raiders have the same theme song, but we've yet to see them together? It makes no sense.
Because Sarah Logan is a female, and Vince McMahon doesn't think that any male that looks like her husband should belong with a female.
Okay.
That's the only explanation I can think
Okay.
of.
Because the same way Kairi Sane came out with Asuka, which made no sense to me.
Nope.
Same way Sarah Logan could have come out with the Viking Raiders in the beginning and just been like hitting them, getting them ready to go, and then she moves away.
Mm-hmm.
Same way she could have came out in full Viking gear instead of camo.
Mm-hmm.
And they could have had them being there, and you could have had him just like do the whole like head thing where like they have their moment as husband and wife, but then like she starts yelling and screaming and blah 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 blah, and she can be that extra person for them. Like there's so much there that you can use for both of those characters, even though they're in separate
Before
divisions.
she came back, she sat up there throwing the tweets out there that she was going quote unquote raid the women's division and all of this other stuff, and everybody's thinking like, oh my god, we're actually going to get this mess. We're going to get Sarah Logan. We're going to get her together with the War Raiders, and it's going to be freaking amazing. But for whatever reason, the
And they
WWE
just
just
won't
doesn't
do it.
do it.
And it's like this is what made the Attitude Era so good. And even to a degree, ruthless aggression. Like the Bashams were good because they had Shamina, whatever her name was. Like Trish Stratus was valeting for tag teams, like Melina and Eminem. Like this is what made tag teams so interesting.
Hell, you have the actual. I want to say you have one sitting right in front of you with Zelina.
Yeah, you have the beginnings of an LWO. If you really wanted to.
I'm sitting up here and pardon me because like I said, it's almost 1 o'clock in the morning. I was at work at 4:30 this morning, so as y'all can see, I'm running out of gas or whatever. I might be rambling a little bit myself as well, but you have your example right there with how a female manager can work with a tag team. Although, like I said, Andrade and Garza are not an official tag team or whatever. They're still two single superstars with the same business manager. But there's your option right there. Your example, not your option, your example. Oh my God, this works. This is great. Why don't we take, granted, she's not a manager or whatever, but take Sarah Logan, put her with her husband, put her with her husband's team, right?
Yeah, valet.
You let her be the valet every once in a while. What is the issue with intertwining storylines and stuff like that as well?
There isn't. Because again, what would make Sarah more upset than to have Liv Morgan flirting with X, Y, and Z, or have Ruby Riott try to go after Ivar? Like, it adds a level of dimension to all of these feuds that is needed. Like, it's needed. And then you can have Ruby Riott literally bring up tag teams because that's her new version of the Riot Squad. She gets two guys.
Naomi and the Usos.
Naomi and the Usos. Like, and you have Naomi come back with a meaner, nastier kind of attitude. Like it's there. It's just like, sitting on it.
I think they like the glow too much to actually turn her into like something meaner.
But
still,
now they're turning her into a freaking like stormtrooper by putting her in a freaking helmet.
Yeah, they need to chill with that.
Like, it's
the glow in the dark championship was enough. They don't need to do anything more than that.
Like, and you have the makings of it with Bianca Belair and Street Profits eventually. Yep. Like, you have all of that. Like, you could have had Montez Ford going, like, taking shots at Charlotte the whole time.
Yep.
And then Charlotte gets a little help from.
If that's the case, then you start building towards the Street Profits going up against Andrade and Angel Garza.
Because you know Zelina's going to talk. Zelina can talk. Montez can get right back at her. And then you can have Bianca Belair after this whole thing cut a promo talking about Selena Vega, keep running your mouth. Watch what I tell you. And it's like, oh, is she going to move up to the main roster? Is she not going to move up to the main roster? Like, it adds a certain dimension to all of these stories.
Like, bitch, I'll swing this braid at you, cut you in half.
Yeah.
Anyway,
And
let's
again,
move
you
on
got
to the next one.
yeah.
We
It's
only got two more matches left. Honestly, I don't really have anything to say about the Intercontinental Championship match. It was Braun Strowman defending
listen,
against the three dickheads.
Sami Zayn got his first title. That I've been asking for that for actual years, but this was not how I wanted it to happen. This was not
Nah.
the package of this is like a shell of Sami Zayn. Albeit, I will say this. I like the fact that now he's a heel in his own right and not just Kevin Owens' buddy. And he's definitely the face of whatever this staple is.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, is Sami Zayn hurt where he can't wrestle anymore? And he
You
can
know
only
what
do some
that
spots?
because you know what this reminded me of? Do you remember when Bret Hart won the United States Championship?
No, I may have been too young for
After,
that.
after the point when Bret Hart got that concussion from Goldberg, when he finally made his return to the WWE, I forgot who it was that he won it from, but the Tyson Kidd and the other one, they helped him win the championship. But
Mm-hmm.
he was officially retired, like medically retired. He could not take a bump. That's what this whole thing reminded me of because
But I
I don't
know,
think Tim
like, I know
any
he had
off.
surgery, and I know that I think it was like he had the same surgery that Ruby Riott had.
Yeah,
So it's like you can come back from it, but why are you protecting? Like, my question only is why are they protecting Sammy so much?
I don't know. I
And
don't know. I
it doesn't
haven't
make
seen where-
storyline sense why they would protect Sammy so much. But I
Mhm,
mean, Sammy got a title. Braun got his first title. Sammy got his first title. I think
I'm not
this
mad
is
at it.
Sammy's ceiling as an Intercontinental Champion. But I think that giving him back his old gimmick and once they're done with this and turning him into a baby face would do a lot more because there's a lot more heels out there right now than there are baby faces. And it's a lot easier for as a babyface, you can pull the whole I'm an arrogant babyface, but I'm still a babyface. Than it is like, oh, I'm a heel and I'm gonna fight another bad guy instead of because like he's the cowering heel, so he wouldn't try to fight anyone anyway.
Nah.
So it doesn't make any sense. So like it just makes sense to turn him babyface and keep him babyface as the Intercontinental Champion and do it that
Mhm,
way. It's just me.
yeah. Anyway, like I said, there's not too much that I really even want to say about this one. And same thing goes for the last match, which is the women's elimination chamber. Where I literally only note that I have is Baszler kills everyone, including Paul.
Here's my thing with this match. It I think the crowd just doesn't buy into Baszler because she's not poppy. But Shayna Baszler had the same problem when she had her first title reign in NXT. People
Mhm,
were afraid of her, but no one would get behind her as an audience. It wasn't until she came out in the leather jackets and the sunglasses and just started verbally destroying people that she got a reaction. They
mhm,
didn't let Shayna get on the mic enough in this build-up. That's the first problem. And you have Shayna working almost a hybrid babyface and not quite being a heel because Becky has been so cocky. You
mhm,
don't allow Shayna, like you have to allow Shayna to instill such a fear that it's like you cheer her because you respect her, but you don't cheer her because you like her. And because they didn't give her a proper call up, they didn't give her a proper build. Her NXT history is basically gone. It's just the fact that she's one of the longest reigning NXT champions. But her character work isn't there anymore. Like her character work when she had the interview with Becky before, when they were both champions,
mhm.
that's the Shayna you need. You need the Shayna that's going to make Becky doubt, not Becky being like, oh, I'll see you at WrestleMania, and blah, blah, blah. No, that doesn't work. That doesn't work. Like you have Becky being overconfident, but you don't have
Like, the biting was a nice touch, I will say that. But you didn't build off of it. Like, Shayna used to just randomly come out and attack people. Why didn't she attack it? Like, why was she so chill? That's the whole thing. Secondly, if you're going to have her do a Brock Lesnar and lead her up to Asuka, let the other 4 people come up first. Let the Ruby Riott, Liv Morgan, Sarah Logan thing pay off first.
Right.
Let Natalya do the whole I'm friends with your best friend, let's team up thing. Like, let the past storylines inform this match. And then let her let Asuka be Asuka. And make it so that Shayna Baszler overcomes even Asuka, and she does it in such a way that Becky Lynch should be afraid. Because Asuka pushed Becky to the limit, and Asuka shouldn't have even made Shayna Baszler sweat. Then you end it that way.
Right
and you
off
do it
bat,
like even when you choke her out, you have the green mist pouring out of her mouth. Like you know,
that's a good spot. That's a good.
You see what I'm saying?
I actually
and you
had
have it like
another one.
look at how she fell though. Like she didn't tap out, she collapsed. Imagine if the green mist just started like bubbling, and she's just like pulling her face up, like look at this, Becky. Like this is the person that gave you a problem. This was the person that pushed you to the limit. Oh, you're gonna be easy come WrestleMania, and have her like kiss her on the forehead and just throw her off. And then you have Shayna Baszler take a bow and walk out. Don't do the whole her pace. She's not that kind of heel. She's not that. She gets business done. She leaves. Period. And that's the problem. Is they didn't use what they had. They're trying to create something new when you don't need to.
Fair.
Don't fix what's not broken. It's there. Just use it to inform what you're doing. That's it.
While you were talking about that, I actually thought of a spot as well because along when you were saying let the Riot Squad get their little beef out and everything like that. Like I said, when we were talking before we started recording, I don't have an issue with Shayna actually going out there eliminating everybody. The issue that I had with this match was the gaps between the action, and I'm pretty sure that pissed off the Philadelphia crowd too, which is one of the reasons why they were so quiet. What I would have done in that situation, like you could have had her come out. She would have been the second to last pod to open up if you wanted to protect Asuka because she has the wrist thing. She go out there, and you have Natalya, and you have the Liv, Ruby, and Sarah Logan still in there. The first thing Shayna Baszler could have done at that point is take out one of them. Let's just say she takes out Natalya. All right. And then the next person she takes out will be Ruby Riott. But then Ruby, in that case, because of the fact that she's the de facto heel out of the 3 Riot Squad members, you have Sarah, who between her lives a face. You go out there, you have Ruby get put in the cure from the clutch. And as she's in the cure from the clutch, you have an opportunity to build some character work between the Riot Squad members. All right. Ruby, their former leader, their former best friend, is out there. She's getting choked out or whatever, and you see her. She's reaching out to them to try and say, "Hey, come help me." And the two of them are like, "You."
Right?
You could have had a situation like that or whatever, something like that to actually help build something else that was going on. But the way they did it, I'm just like,
That's what I'm
you
saying. Like,
robbed everybody of everything except Shayna Baszler, and you didn't do Shayna Baszler justice herself.
Right. And that
You could have had
it was like we knew the result, but like it's like I know what you're making me, like I know what I'm getting for dinner, but like I still want to enjoy the food. Like I've had chicken or whatever a million times, but like you ever had like a good piece of chicken that you're like, wow, I wasn't expecting it to be this good. That's what this has the potential to be. And it fell flat.
I got an analogy for you. I want to eat my food. I don't want my food injected into my veins.
There you go. That's just that's what it turned into, and it's really sad. I think that's the whole thing. It's just kind of sad, and I felt like that was what this overall pay-per-view was. It was like you had so many chances to do so many things, and you did it again. You vinced it up. You did it again.
Although, what I will say is, at the very least, this pay-per-view was missed opportunities and not just completely flat out screwed up booking.
Yes. That's the plus. Is that
That
it was there, you just didn't take it.
you just didn't take the initiative to actually see what was there or whatever. It's not like you were just like, okay, we're gonna do this right here in order just to swerve everybody, you know. Or
Right.
you think Shayna Baszler's gonna win? No, we're actually gonna give it to Ruby Riott because I don't like Shayna Baszler. Like, no,
Right.
like nobody wants that.
That's what I thought was gonna happen too.
Well, considering the report that came out earlier this week, I was sitting up there. I was a little worried about that mess too. Talking about Vince just doesn't like Shayna Baszler because her and Kairi Sane didn't have, a banger match or whatever, or a WrestleMania quality match to make them, make her look like a star. I'm like, dude, do you not understand that Raw is not Takeover? Right? You don't script a Takeover match for an episode of Raw.
Without any build.
They don't have a half an hour to go out there and put on a show. On top of the fact that the match was originally billed as Shayna versus Asuka. Asuka got injured. You had to have an emergency substitution, which ended up being Kairi Sane. Like, you don't have time. And he sat up there just basing everything on that one match, and he was just like, "Yeah, well, I'm not really feeling her and all of this other stuff." And I'm just like, it's a whole other thing that's going to go into a rant that we are going to have another day.
Yep,
I'm tired.
This has already gone on a little long for our taste, but just understand, both of us feel like they just missed a lot of opportunities here, and it's just kind of sad.
But, I'm sitting up here. As I was watching, I was also scripting out different plot points, different points I wanted to hit. When we do actually do our little state of the WWE discussion that we're gonna have. And it's I got a good 6-7 points out just sitting up here just bullshitting. But like there's more to come. And like I said, there's going to be a nice little discussion that the three of us are going to have when we actually do get together. But anyway, you got any final words?
Like, subscribe to the YouTube channel, follow the page on Facebook. This has been the Elimination Chamber, and it's kind of just, doesn't feel like WrestleMania season. Should have felt like WrestleMania season. Instead, it just feels like the fallout for Super Showdown.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I'm at. Also, side point, they should stop calling this pay-per-view Elimination Chamber and bring back No Way Out. Makes so much more sense, and you can do so much more with it. And the type of match should never, ever be the title of a pay-per-view. Ever.
That.
But that's all I'm going to say on that. That I'm going to hold my peace until later. But yeah, that's my only gripe, really. But yeah, that's all I have to say. Subscribe to the 3 Count.
All right. Once again, guys, this was the 3 Count podcast. It was just the two of us, so it was kind of sort of just a 2 count. But
it was a kick out. It was a kick out.
Yeah, we kicked out of 2. It's brought to you by the Sports Market Analyst. Again, like JaQuawn said, follow us on Facebook. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Drop your comments down in there. Share us around with your different communities and things, because a bunch of fans. We're trying to grow, and we're trying to get the discussion started with everybody. But anyway, we're both gonna go to sleep, right? Soul Calibur is still looking at me, but my PlayStation is about to get turned off.
We will catch you guys right here about to get eaten at 2:00 in the morning because I'm 400 pounds in my head.
Mm-hmm.
We okay?
All right. Anyway, you guys have a good one. All right. Peace out.